Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Savannah Chrisley misses Grayson, calls him emotional support animal. Former Chrisley Knows Best star Savannah Chrisley admitted that she missed her brother Grayson and added he is her emotional support animal. The two have been thick as thieves since their parents were incarcerated in early 2023. Now she has had to say goodbye to her little brother and is having a very hard time. Keep reading for more details. Savannah Chrisley misses her emotional support animal. It has been a long road for Savannah Chrisley as she became the sole caretaker of her younger siblings in 2023. That was when their parents, Todd and Julie Chrisley, were both locked up, and it did not appear they would be out anytime soon. In that time, Savannah campaigned for her parents' release as well as raised her siblings, Grayson and Chloe. She was able to send Grayson off to college and even redecorated his whole dorm to perfection. Fortunately for them, Todd and Julie were pardoned and released in May 2025 while the family was wrapping up a new reality series. They are happy to be reunited, but now Grayson has left, and it is ripping Savannah apart. He headed back to the University of Alabama, and Savannah could not get over how much she would miss him. Although she was immensely proud of him, that did not change her feelings. Moreover, she wanted him to come home immediately. Savannah then proceeded to call Grayson her emotional support animal. So that is why she relies on him. Grayson and Savannah Chrisley are best friends, and she made that known. However, she kept reiterating how proud of her little brother she was, even if he was away. Savannah went on to talk about the high price of college and how much she hates adulting. This makes sense as she was thrown into a guardian situation, maybe before she was ready. Yet she went on to discuss relief and aid, even though she was sad deep down. Good luck, Grayson. Chrisley Knows Best fans saw Savannah Chrisley's message about her brother and immediately chimed in. They hoped that Grayson Chrisley would have an incredible year. More so, they were thrilled that everyone was back together, especially for these precious moments. Savannah Chrisley's voice cracked just a little when she clicked record on her podcast mic that Tuesday morning. The studio lights glowed warmly, but there was something in her tone that made even her most upbeat followers lean in closer to their phones. This wasn't going to be one of those days where she dished about celebrity drama or reality TV gossip. Y'all, she began, brushing a strand of her golden hair behind her ear. I've been thinking about my little brother Grayson a lot lately, and when I say little, I mean, sure, he's taller than me now, but in my heart, he's still that tiny kid in oversized sneakers following me around the house. Her words felt heavier than usual. Life had been a whirlwind since her parents, Todd and Julie Chrisley, had gone to prison. The Chrisley household had splintered into a new shape, one where Savannah had become guardian, parent, and big sister all at once. For a while, the chaos kept her running on pure adrenaline, but in recent months, the quiet moments started to hit harder. You know, Savannah continued, laughing softly to herself. I was talking to a friend yesterday, and I told her I think Grayson is my emotional support animal. And she just about spit out her coffee, but I meant it. She leaned back in her chair, remembering the way he used to wander into her room late at night when the house was silent, plopping down at the foot of her bed with that signature teenage shrug. They didn't always talk. Sometimes he'd just scroll through his phone while she worked on her laptop. But his presence was a comfort she didn't even realize she needed. It had been weeks since they'd seen each other in person. Grayson had been busy. Basketball games, workouts, college visits, and spending time with friends. Savannah knew it was normal for him to carve out his own life. Still, she missed the small things. The way he'd raid the pantry and insist her snacks tasted better than his. The way he'd call her Sav in that drawn-out tone when he wanted a favor. The way he could diffuse her worst moods with one sarcastic comment. When Mom and Dad left, she told her audience, I didn't realize how much Grayson would keep me sane. I mean, don't get me wrong, there were days I wanted to strangle him. Teenage boys, they smell like gym socks and live off Chick-fil-A. But he was my rock, I don't know, one my night, safe place. A few months after their parents were sentenced, when she had broken down on the kitchen floor. She had been overwhelmed by bills, schedules, and endless court updates. Grayson had walked in, eyes wide, not knowing what to do. Then, without a word, he'd sat down beside her and offered her a cold Gatorade, as if hydration was the cure for heartbreak. She'd laughed through her tears, and for that one night, things didn't seem so unbearable. Savannah admitted she had been struggling lately with the emptiness in the house. She'd always been someone who thrived in chaos, but the silence had started to feel loud. She found herself scrolling through old photos, Grayson in his football jersey, Grayson holding their niece Chloe, Grayson making goofy faces at the dinner table. "He's growing up so fast," she said, her voice softening. "And I want him to have his independence. I want him to go live his life, but selfishly. I want to keep him here with me, because when he's here, I feel like I can breathe a little easier." The phrase emotional support animal had started as a joke, but it had grown into something real. It wasn't about dependency. It was about that quiet sense of grounding only certain people bring. Grayson was her reminder that even when the world felt unstable, some bonds were steady. She told her listeners about a recent phone call with him. He'd been driving home from practice, music blaring in the background. She had asked how he was doing, and he'd mumbled something about being tired but good. Then, without warning, he'd said, "You doing okay, Sav?" Those 4 words had stayed with her. They were simple, but they carried the weight of someone who had been through the same storm. "I think sometimes we forget that the younger ones notice everything," she said. "They see us trying to hold it together. And Grayson, he sees me, even when I'm pretending I'm fine." Savannah confessed that she had been counting down the days until they could spend a weekend together. She had plans, movies, takeout from their favorite burger place, maybe even a late-night drive to get ice cream. Nothing fancy, just time. And she wanted to tell him all the things she didn't always say out loud. How proud she was of him for staying focused, for not letting the chaos define him. How much she admired his humor and resilience. How, even on her darkest days, knowing he was out there in the world made it a little brighter. Her eyes welled up as she admitted, "I don't know if he realizes the role he's played in my life the past couple years. He kept me going. He made me laugh when I wanted to cry. He reminded me that family is worth fighting for no matter what." Savannah ended the episode with a message to her listeners to check in on the people who make them feel safe, to tell them, without embarrassment, that they're a lifeline. And if that means calling your little brother your emotional support animal, she said with a laugh, then so be it. Own it, because life's too short not to let people know they matter.